Hey guys, Rusted Root Farms here. We're going to do a mid-July edition. This is July of 2026. And as you might imagine, the greenhouse is in full swing. Mostly tomatoes as usual about this time of year. So we'll go through the tomato varieties that we're growing, plus a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of new stuff that's happening and new things that we're trying to grow. So we focused on 3 different tomato varieties this year. We've got the big beef, kind of the big beef steak tomatoes that are growing, as well as something called a carbon, which is a kind of a purplish, a grayish purple tomato. So there's an example of one of the big boys, and I think maybe one of the carbons is down here somewhere. We'll come across one in just a minute. Most of these are the big beefs. But as usual, tomato plants absolutely love aquaponics. They have unlimited water and they grow some huge tomatoes, and they do it for as long as you keep them alive. So you can see these plants are well over 3 months old, and as you can see, they're still putting on. So we just come out here and kind of jingle the blossoms a little bit in order to encourage pollination, and they'll continue to put on for months and months. So the ones behind me are the same way. This is more of the same. So back to the 3 that we're doing, it's the kind of the big beef, the carbons, and then we've got some of the little grape tomatoes that grow on a kind of a straight vine, which is pretty cool. Yeah, there's an example. So, and when these guys ripen up, it's just, clip the little vine and take the tomatoes right off. You don't have to pick them off individually or anything. It's really good, really quick, good stuff. A little bit more of that. So here's some of the new stuff. So these are watermelons, all grown from seed. Everything here has been grown from seed. The watermelons are really taking off. So there's a fruit right there, and many more to come, as you can tell by all of the blossoms. So we've got a couple of different plants here for pollination, and again, we just pollinate them manually, which is good enough. These obviously watermelons are going to be pretty heavy, so we have this wire mesh that we put down and fasten to the tables so that they'll have a place to actually rest whenever they start getting big. These are just floating rafts right here, so it doesn't really provide much of a bearing surface for them to lay on. It'll actually end up sinking. The raft will sink if it gets too much weight on it. So we do have the mesh that's been put down for that. Other than that, we've got tomatillos, which we haven't done before, but they like it just as much as tomatoes do, as you can tell by the blossoms. So these guys are kind of in full swing. A little bit more Swiss chard. We always have some lettuce or chard or something in the system. Another tomatillo, which needs to be moved away from these other guys. This is one of the new things. These are called golden berries, and it's a vine, kind of a vine fruit that grows. They're also known as poha in Hawaii. So it's a tropical berry that grows. It will not do well in the wintertime, obviously, so we're going to grow these and probably keep them in the greenhouse over winter, and then and see if we can keep them alive, and then next year we should have some good golden berries, some poha berries. More tomatillos. Squash. Squash is kind of a new thing. Squash is in general too large of a plant for these aquaponics tables. Those of you who have grown squash before, you know that they're very large plants. They get to be pretty huge, especially when they don't have any water limitations. And I expect the same of these, but we're gonna try it out anyway, and we're gonna see what we get. I may end up having to cut these back and significantly reduce their spread. This is our superstar tomato plant right here. I don't know what's up with this one, if it just had good genetics or what, but what you see here is like round 3. So we've already taken off clusters and clusters of tomatoes that looked just like this So obviously we're saving the seeds from this one, and that one will be the one that we cultivate coming up in the next season. Rest of these are kind of more of the same, more of either the carbons or the big boys or the grape tomatoes. And then that brings us to kind of the last new thing for Rusted Root Farms, and that is tropical trees. So since we have greenhouses that we can overwinter these plants and keep it warm enough to where they won't die, we decided to go with a few trees which are not commonly found in this area at all. And the first one that you see here in the middle that look like ferns, those are actually tamarind trees. So you can look that up if you've never seen a tamarind or eaten some of the fruit from a tamarind. It's actually quite unique. Looks like a very large peanut, and even kind of tastes like it a little bit. It's a cross between a peanut and a date. So the flesh of the fruit is it's very sticky and sweet, like a date is, but it also has a hint of peanut flavor. If you like boiled peanuts, it kind of tastes that way. So those are tamarind trees. Very, very easy to grow. Coming across the seeds is not the easiest thing in the world, but once you find them, they're actually very easy to cultivate. We've got some Chickasaw plums that are growing here. Those will be fine. Those are a southern plant, so that's kind of common to this area. This is pawpaw, which is also more or less common to this area. People always say that, but I've never actually seen one except at farmers markets and that sort of thing. So we got a couple of them, and growing those. That one down there is also a pawpaw. This is a pawpaw, and that's a pawpaw, even though it's not doing the greatest. And then asparagus. So I had a friend at work that gave us some asparagus crowns, and we planted them, and they seem to be doing really good. So we're going to let them go and see if we can't get some asparagus out of these soil pots. And these are watered with the same water from the system, so it's the same nutrient water that we grow everything else in. I just have kind of a little delivery system that I use to occasionally water these plants. It's nothing high tech or anything, just a hose and a sprinkler, showerhead sprinkler. Works pretty good. And these being tropical don't really require that much water, so they get watered once a week or so, and that's good enough. As far as the fish, still mostly koi. So here's our koi tank. You can see all of our koi that are about a month old now, and some of the big guys down there, and in the others more goldfish and koi, and then same thing in the in the third tank down there. So this is our starter greenhouse, so this is kind of the smaller one, and that's what we got. So just wanted to give a quick update on what's going on around the farm, and we'll do another one kind of later in the season. Take care.